Hello, my crazy family. Welcome back to Mac Music Review. Before we hop into the review, just want to say there's going to be some stuff down in the description if you're interested in how the channel works and what I'm reviewing next, how to request an album for me to review, all that good stuff down in the description. Today we're going to be looking at the album Anchor by Colton Dixon. Colton Dixon is an artist who placed 7th on the, 11th season of American Idol. And after he did that, after he had his run at American Idol, he said, hey, you know what, why not give Christian contemporary music a shot? And created his album A Messenger, I think in 2011, maybe 2012, I'm not sure. I know this album, Anchor, his sophomore album, came out in 2014, and this has his biggest hit song called More of You. It also has his other very popular song, Through All of It, which actually got radio play way after the song was released. It was like More of You was a big hit for a long time, and then he didn't have any hits on the radio. They stopped playing him. And then Through All of It suddenly became a hit on Christian radio, and now that's his most popular song. So, yeah. This guy's got a few hits under his belt with this album. I think this is his most commercially successful album with 2 hits. This album actually, interestingly, feels like an album. It's not a mixtape, it's not an EP, it's not a collection of songs. This album has a cohesive theme and cohesive thing to it, and as such, it has 2 intros or interludes which tie into the theme. The theme of this album is being like lost at sea. The theme of the album is just related to the ocean and being in a boat, and it kind of has just that vibe is communicated through the songs. Songs like Walk on the Waves, or it's escaping my mind right now, Fool's Gold, and then Echo, I guess. Yeah. Anchor, the title of the album, and the back of the album. I actually have the CD, the back of the album. It's like an anchor and it's circular, and that didn't make any sense. But this album has a theme of ships, of being lost at sea, being on a boat. Kind of has that vibe going for it with the music and the interludes. The very intro to this track, to the whole album, the first song is called SOS, and then the interlude leading up to More of You is Coordinates. It's literally just coordinates. So, an interesting cohesive theme in the song titles and the album cover, in some of the lyrics. It's just, this is an album. This is very clearly a concept/theme album, or it has a concept/theme. As you can expect, coming from an artist who got 7th place on American Idol, the vocals on this thing definitely stand out. They're very emotive. Whether he's doing a slow piano ballad like Through All of It, or just rocking out on songs like Our Time Is Now, Back to Life, or Loud and Clear, Colton Dixon has a range, and he can definitely communicate emotion and feeling through his voice on this album. As I just hinted at, there is some diversity in the tempo and the speeds and sounds of these songs. Some of them, like I said, I just mentioned the rock songs on this album, Through All of It, Our Time Is Now, Loud and Clear. These are rock songs, they're crazy. Through All of It is a piano ballad. It's the only really stripped down piano ballad on this. There are a few other songs which have a worship, slow vibe, but they have a lot of other instruments and tools and music thrown into them, so they're not really as acoustic sounding as Through All of It. That's the only real acoustic sounding song. And then Dare to Believe, elements of it sound kind of stripped back and acoustic, but eventually other stuff is thrown in there. You also have some songs on here where he goes in an electronic direction. And these songs are Echo and Fool's Gold. These have a lot of, there's rock music, but it's infused with electronic elements to make a kind of unique kind of sound on these songs. And then the rest of the songs are about your typical Christian pop rock songs. Some of them are more pop leaning, some a little bit more rock leaning, but they're all kind of mid-tempo Christian pop rock songs by the music. Based on the music, that's what they sound like. The lyrics on this album are very typical of Christian contemporary music. It's all, the lyrics are very Christian. Basically every single song on here is a Christian song with lyrics about God and faith and all that kind of stuff. And you're gonna get all the typical messages, like on songs like Echo, it's about wanting to be like an echo of God, or I don't know if I said that right, but it's kind of The lyrics on this thing are very typical. Nothing super original or striking in the lyrics on this album. I think Anchor is kind of a tricky album because it's so obviously not terrible. It's so overtly not bad, but it's also really hard to call great. Very little on this album you can say, wow, that's amazing, that's so good. Most of it is just like, wow, that's really not something that's bad. That's really not terrible lyrics. That's really not terrible music. That's really not terrible singing. But yeah. There are some real highlights in the music on this album. I think the 2 songs with the electronic elements actually work surprisingly well. Actually, I think they're some of the best sounding songs on the entire album. Echo and especially Fool's Gold are really cool songs. They get stuck in your head. They just have the music just works very well. It works very well with the vocals also. And they just kind of have a good vibe going for them, a really cool vibe. I've seen these, I don't know if I've seen Fool's Gold perform live. I've seen Echo perform live, and that was cool. It sounded really good live. You also have songs like Our Time Is Now, the first rock song on this album, actually really rocks out and is a really cool rock song. It's a little bit overproduced, a little bit processed, but it's pretty enjoyable for the most part. A pretty cool song. And then through all of it, the real acoustic song on this album, the real just piano ballad, works super duper well, mostly because Colton Dixon is a great singer when given the right circumstances. When it's just his voice and a piano, he can really kill it. And the lyrics work really well with the vocals and the music, and they feel a lot more real, a lot more emotive and passionate given the sparse instrumentation and the singing. So those songs do sound really good. The rest of the songs on this album, I can't say they sound bad. I think all of these songs, most of the songs on this album can be enjoyed on like a base level, but they just don't like really stand out. They're not like amazing, not anything you really want to come back to. They just like, you listen to it, you're like, oh, that sounded good. That didn't sound bad. But it's not like something that's like, wow, that was really distinctive and memorable and I want to hear it again. I do think there are 2 flops on this album, which is the other 2 rock songs, Loud and Clear and Back to Life. These are super over-processed. These are insanely sanitized rock songs with so much other stuff thrown in that distracts from the actual like real guitar and real drums. There's so many different like modern elements thrown in that it's gross. These songs really, they're really not very good. These are bad rock songs. Lyrically, this album is honestly not bad. The lyrics on this thing are actually pretty good for the most part. A lot of good messages, a lot of good lyrics, a lot of worshipful lyrics that really point to God. Then that's always good when a Christian artist really focuses on what really matters. And a lot of good lyrics, a lot of good messages. Unfortunately, a lot of it is pretty generic. There's also not stuff on here that's super duper original. It's mostly generic, it's mostly unoriginal, it's very rarely original, super original, but there are some good lyrics on this thing. There are some good lyrics and good messages on this album that deserve to be heard. So, lyrically, not a bad album. I think the vocals on this album, okay, this is what I need to say about this. Colton Dixon, I know for a fact that Colton Dixon is a really good singer. But with these songs, with the amount of, to the extent these songs are produced, I should say, some of the songs are produced and they're so pop rocky, and they're so like, they don't let his voice breathe. They don't give his voice a place to shine and really stand out. The music sometimes really stifles his voice. You can tell that he's a good singer on this album, but it's on songs like Through All of It that you can really see his voice highlighted and really see how great of a singer he is. And most of these songs just don't give Colton Dixon's voice that potential, drowning it out with the, I guess overproduced music. It's not always overproduced, but overproduced in the way that I don't know. It's hard to explain, but his voice doesn't reach its full potential on this album. I can say that for a fact. When all is said and done, I can't deny that Anchor is a good album. In fact, it's an overwhelmingly good album. And by that, I mean there's just very little that's great. It's the word good can be applied to it so extensively, but there's just not a ton here that I can say is great. The vocals are good, but not great on most songs. The music is good, but not great on most songs. The lyrics are good, but really not great on most songs. I'm just gonna have to say this is a good record. It's just really doesn't reach into the thresholds of being called great. It really just doesn't reach greatness. It has hints of greatness from time to time in the vocals and the music, but it never really gets there. I'm gonna have to give this album a 3.5 out of 5. Thanks for watching. You're the best, you're the best, you're the best. Needle drop, needle drop, needle drop. Yeah. If you want me to review an album, go down in the description of this video and look at either one of the C's or one of the D's, and I'll hop right to it. I'm gonna put up more of the, because I've reviewed albums from A to Z to numbers, including albums that, yeah. So I just haven't put them up on the main thing yet. I'll do that when I'm like done with the D's or done with the C's. So we'll see what happens. But if you want to request an album, look down. I got some Coldplay I'm gonna review. Death Cab for Cutie, I mean, Daft Punk, Colony House, I got all kinds of stuff. Thanks for watching.